institutions, members of the diplomatic community, I must first of all thank all of you for giving us your time over the last 2 days, and of course tomorrow, in building this alliance and partnership in what would be an incredible journey forward. Some of the participants told me they never knew that they would have had the opportunity to have so many important meetings that were scheduled a year ago here in Guyana over the last 2 days. That is because we were able to bring like-minded institutions and personality together. When, of course, the world is faced with many other distractions, we were able to bring this important subject matter on the agenda. I'm particularly happy today that we have the COP presidency here with us because his presence is important in the next step of this journey. And the next step of this journey is to move to an actionable framework on every aspect of the Alliance work. The founding members of the Alliance will continue to work virtually and as much together to finalize and crystallize the input document for COP30 and for us to assemble a high-level team to the United Nations, because as you're aware, I did announce the formation of this alliance at the high-level week at UN, after which we hope to find champions around the world in getting us as many signatories by the end of COP30 as possible. But in order to demonstrate our full commitment from Guyana, earlier today we had a meeting between Yale, the government, Yale University that is, the government of Guyana, and other stakeholders, including the European Union. And we have committed to a full assessment and documentation of our biodiversity assets so that we can show from the inception our commitment to transparency and accountability as we move forward. So we have already committed ourselves to this, and we are hoping to be one of the first countries to have a full audit and baseline data. And talking about baseline data, I want to congratulate the Field Museum and all of the other partners, including the villages, the Guyana Protected Area Commission, Conservation International, South Rupununi Conservation Society, the Guyana Environmental Protection Agency, University of Guyana, and Map of Life. Today, I think that sometime today or this evening, they would release some amazing work in just one corridor where they were able to document some of our biodiversity riches. 1.5 million hectares of forests, 7% of Guyana's land surface, 275 kilometers from the Guyana-Brazil border in the south to the headwaters of the Berbice River in the north, 73 to 873 meter above sea level, 3.4 billion year old surface geology, more than 90% mixed upland forests, more than 900 kilometers of three of Guyana's largest rivers, hundreds of rapids, waterfalls, and river islands, thousands of kilometers of forests, creeks, and streams, 800 million trees large enough, they said, to string at least a hammock on it. I'm sure you can string many hammocks in there. 192 mammal species, 178 amphibian and reptile species, more than 440 bird species, more than 400 fish species, more than 2,000 plant species, and trillions of individual organisms. And this was done in a few months. I want you to put your hands together for this amazing team. And as they were celebrating this accomplishment, we decided that we're going to take the work further and work on the area with the Essequibo headwaters and have a similar exercise completed, but more importantly, to have that interlink with the data collection this will be a national border-to-border data collection on biodiversity that we will be doing with Yale and the European Union supporting that initiative. So we are also hoping that the Center of Excellence with this foundational work will be established in the coming years. We're also hoping that we can have our own museum because we have enough history and enough of an ecosystem to support such a museum, and the development of an intensive park to showcase in one area the richness of our biodiversity. So the Alliance has moved from vision to action through collective leadership, shared knowledge, and inclusive stewardship. We now have a bold yet practical path to halt biodiversity loss and finance a nature-positive future. This summit marked not just a declaration, but a turning point for our planet. We had the official launch of the Global Biodiversity Alliance on July the 23rd, 2025. So we should mark that date in our history diary. We adopted the Georgetown Declaration, endorsed by heads of state, indigenous leaders, NGOs, academia, and private sector actors. We had affirmation of the biodiversity as a global public good, essential to health, resilience, and sustainability. And we have made a commitment to have at least 140 countries and organizations, including NGOs and private sector, sign on to this agreement by the end of COP30. The strategic vision, we're able to unveil the 2030 Action Plan, outlining a shared roadmap organized around 5 strategic pillars: achieving the 30 by 30 biodiversity goal, which is protecting 30% of our land and sea by 2030, mainstreaming biodiversity into national and corporate planning, not only national and corporate development planning. And President Duque, Dr. Kartik, and CI would have their work cut out in expediting our work among the private sector and in different markets. The third aspect is unlocking innovative financing, green bonds, biodiversity credits, and debt swaps. We have had such good coverage of this conference that we already have some suggestions, and I know our dear Senator will be working with us too on finding the right partners. We've already had some initial discussions on the possibility of an investment bank. So these are active discussions ongoing. The fourth pillar is empowering indigenous peoples and local communities through finance, governance, and recognition. And fifth pillar is building a robust monitoring and accountability system. Example, the Gross Biodiversity Power Index. So we are showing from the very inception that we want a transparent system, a system in which there is measurement and evaluation, and a system in which there is accountability. And these are key features of a market-driven approach. We want this to be a market-driven approach. That is why it must be open, transparent, has built-in accountability matrix inside. And those are some of the things we are pursuing. In terms of governance and coordination, Guyana confirmed as the chair of the Alliance. We have committed to a technical secretariat, and CI has expressed the willingness also to not only help, but to help host the work of that secretariat. The Alliance will operate as a voluntary, inclusive, and non-binding platform, encouraging broad participation. In terms of key outcomes and initiative, we have the agreement to operationalize a fully standardized national biodiversity monitoring system in Guyana by 2030, the first of its kind globally. So again, Guyana is taking a bold step in being the first globally to adopt such a system. The development of the National Biodiversity Information System to serve as a digital backbone for conservation, finance, and policy. Coming out of the summit, Guyana has announced the launch of the National Biodiversity Management Monitoring Strategy. Guyana will implement a fully standardized border-to-border biodiversity monitoring to support the effective valuation of Guyana's greatest asset. This groundbreaking effort, catalyzed by our convening this week, all of us convening this week at the inaugural Global Biodiversity Alliance Summit, will set a new global benchmark for national-scale biodiversity accountability. Building on the foundations of Guyana's successful leadership in carbon finance, the country is moving into the era of biodiversity finance, rooted in transparency, science, and sovereignty. At the heart of this initiative is the National Biodiversity Information System, for which the MOU was signed just yesterday, a robust digital infrastructure that will unify biodiversity data collection, analysis, and decision-making across Guyana. This strategy will be developed and led by an interagency coalition of government, local and indigenous peoples, academic institutions, the NGOs, of course, not only locally, but internationally, building on decades of Guyanese-led conservation. This initiative will enable us to meet and exceed our 30 by 30 targets while embedding biodiversity stewardship in Guyana's development pathway. Working together with our partners in the Alliance, we hope this model, its tools, systems, and lessons will provide a foundation to co-develop and adapt for application in other national contexts. The work begins now. Let this stand as a bold signal of Guyana's unwavering commitment to nature, climate, and our shared future. We also agreed on the establishment of an international biodiversity research consortium anchored in Guyana, the endorsement of a community-driven monitoring and data sovereignty system to empower local stakeholders. As it relates to global and financial commitments, calls for increased climate and biodiversity finance from developed countries, multilateral institutions, but importantly, from the market. Broader stakeholder agreement to link finance to environmental performance matrix. Building on the spirit and ambition of the Georgetown Declaration, we underscore the urgent need for enhanced engagement by developed countries in mobilizing substantial, predictable, and long-term financial resources for the conservation of tropical forests. In this context, we welcome the expansion of jurisdictional approaches to forest financing, including carbon markets, and the planned launch of the Tropical Forests Forever facility at COP30. Carbon markets and the TFFF are complementary parts of a menu of options for forest financing. To this end, we support the expansion of high-integrity markets for jurisdictional approaches, and we also encourage potential investor countries to announce ambitious contribution to the TFFF. Further, we call international organizations, NGOs, and civil society to support the TFFF worldwide. We also encourage tropical forest countries to join the initiative and seize this opportunity to advance sustainable development pathways and protect standing tropical forests, strengthen national ownership with the important engagement of indigenous peoples and local communities, and contribute meaningfully to global biodiversity and climate goals. I think I've covered some of the important areas in this conference. But before I close, again, I want to thank all our participants. I want to thank the local team, Pradeepa, Vanessa, Nick, the entire team. Marcia from my office and her team, President Duge and his team, CI, Kevin, Kartik, President of COP, all of you, all of the organizations here. I want to thank you for your extraordinary support. Without your support, this conference would not have been successful. I want to thank our local diplomats. It's not often that our local diplomats remain for 2 days in a forum like this, but it shows that their capital and what they represent is critically linked to what we are doing, and I want to applaud our local diplomats because they also played a key role here. I want to leave by saying to us all that the first step is always the important step. It's a step of confidence. It's a step that says to us all, we can do it. And I believe with the expertise, the commitment that is within this room, that we can make this happen. One thing for sure, we are not short of talent in this room. We have brought together the best talent around the world to help this moving. So just imagine we have brought together the best talent globally to get this baby walking. We now have to keep that talent in nurturing as we run along to victory. I must also acknowledge Hess Corporation, and I think you can all give them a big round of applause for seeing the necessity of this. And as we were saying, we want everyone to be around the table. We believe that the only way we can win is if there is a space for every voice, every sector, We have to let every sector feel a part of the solution. We cannot define sectors as emitters and non-emitters. That is creating diverging views. Our objective is to bring everyone around the table and to find a comprehensive solution based on science, based on facts, based on market, based on livelihood, and based on a sustainable future. That is what we want to achieve. We don't want to be part of a debate as to what is science and what is facts. That is established. We now have to get the market to accept what is established. And we cannot get the market to accept what is established if we lock the market out of the discourse. So, with these few words, once again, thank you all, and may God bless you. I wish all of you a safe journey back home. Please enjoy your study tour tomorrow. Unfortunately, I'll be on another tour. Important tour, though, I must say. But I look forward to seeing all of you before some of the founding members and the technical team. Definitely before COP. Already we have some meetings scheduled in New York during September. We have some presentations that have already been requested, and we will be working on identifying ambassadors who will take the message to all corners of our world. Thank you very much, and God bless you. Hope they have snack for you guys. You deserve it. And I'm sorry that the room was so warm. I told them to keep it cool for you guys, but it's very warm, I am told. The ambassador of Belize told me that the room is warm, if I can have it a bit cooler.
Just a quick logistical message. Anyone who is going on the tours, could you huddle with us here, please? We have some departure and arrival information. If we can huddle here, Vanessa has some details. Anyone who is going on the tours, could we huddle, please?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We made it.
Congratulations.